What I want to talk about today is decision paralysis and why any decision we can make can be better than none. And this kind of links me back to my time in the Air Force, and then looking around at some of the things that were happening right at the start of the lockdown process, and seeing maybe how we can use a little bit of knowledge to make our decisions better. It's been really interesting this morning. I was listening to Mal especially talking about emotional intelligence, and that got me to thinking about how that leads our decision-making process. And then people talking about our biases as well. So are our biases causing problems in our decision-making as well? How's presentation on botheredness got me thinking, as a leader, how does that botheredness translate to how we make our decisions? So first of all, though, I'm going to take you back to where I was in 2011. So this is the sound. This isn't my recording, but that is the rocket alarm at Camp Bastion in Afghanistan, 2011. You could hear that from all over the camp. To give you an idea of size, Camp Bastion was the size of Reading at the time, so around about 26 miles around the perimeter. If you heard that sound, your job, or most people's job, was to go and hide in a ditch and wait for the explosions to happen, hopefully not too near them. I'll lead you through some of the decision-making process, though, that happens before that alarm goes off. So you've got 10 seconds to decide, and time really is critical here. Launch time, we've got about 3 seconds of flight before the rocket can be detected and get the warning out. So in 10 seconds, somebody's had to make that decision. Now, some of it is automated by computer, but some of it was down to probably our lowest ranking person in the ops room, sitting watching the screen, then hitting his big red button. Quite an important decision and quite important to be right. But I also would say immediately quite important to be wrong as well at times. So we get things wrong because of the fear factor. We have this thinking that what if we are wrong? If we're wrong, it's going to go wrong, and our decisions are going to be judged forever. And again, I'll take us back to the start of the pandemic, where certain school leaders were looking at how they were going to run their schools in different ways, and they wanted lots and lots of people in their school because they felt those were the vulnerable children. They then took advice from other people and they changed their decisions. And that's really what I want to think about now. And it's a cultural shift to change the narrative to what if we're right? A lot of my thinking from this comes back to this guy. So he's Colonel John Boyd from the US Air Force. And he fought in the Vietnam War. And he hypothesized that all intelligent organisms and organizations undergo a continuous cycle of interaction with their environment. So they have to work, they have to analyze the information that's coming in and use that to inform their decision-making process. And he came up with this idea of the OODA loop. So we observe, we orient, we decide, and then we act. Now, to put that in a bit more context, our observation is looking what's going on. It's gathering information. So for school leaders at the start of this pandemic situation, it was looking at the information coming out of the DFE. It was probably more looking at what was coming on the news and thinking how we would use that information. We then had to have some time to assess that information. Now, that information wasn't always coming out in a timely manner. The information wasn't always there for our leaders. So we then had to make decisions, and we had to make decisions using the best information possible. And when we've made that decision, we have to act and we have to communicate that plan. Now, using our emotional intelligences in that plan is thinking that actually the plan can now change. Once we've acted, we go back into the cycle again. So we observe what's happening now. We orientate ourselves, we decide, and then we act. But we have to make the decisions, and the decision paralysis comes from the fear of getting it wrong. Putting this in some context then, when we have the decision-free zone, There's 80,000 permutations of drink in Starbucks. And if you have 2 drinks a day, that's going to take you 109 years to try them all and to decide which one you like. So how do you make your choices? I think we've got to do several things. We've got to make decisions, but then we've got to go back and we've got to evaluate those decisions. And we've got to change our mind if it's necessary. And I think one of the startling things at the start of the school lockdown was listening to people like Simon Kidwell and Simon Smith and Ray Snape, who were running daily Zoom sessions for school leaders, looking at the information that was coming in and helping people to make those decisions. And I know certainly of several school leaders that definitely changed how they were going to do things based on the information that they got from other people and seeing how other people's decisions were made as well. Great use of emotional intelligence and a great use of putting our own biases to the back and showing our botheredness as a leader. Okay, it's fine to get it wrong, but change your mind. That's me. If you want to talk about it further, I'm on Twitter. I'll be kicking around for most of the rest of the day, or give me a shout on my school email address. But other than that, thank you very much. I'm going to stop the screen now. Hopefully Graham's going to come back in.
Colin, my friend, thank you so much again. Again, coming from a different background like you've done, it gives us so much to think about, doesn't it?
Absolutely. But I think it's really important to think that our experiences shape who we are, and particularly as leaders. And we are all leaders. We're all leaders in our classrooms.
Yeah.
And we need to remember that. And it's important to bring those experiences from whatever we've done before in to help us. And it's not just about what we do now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much again. And thanks for coming in. I know you had a few problems with the tech there, but seems to be all right now, which is good.
I went back to trusty Macintosh, Ray.
Yeah, well done. Thanks. Thanks for your support over the BrewEdIsolation as well. Like I say before about setting up the website and everything else, Colin, it's been really invaluable. So thank you very much, my friend.
And same to you. Yeah, I'll put this out there in public that this could not have happened without you, my friend.
Yes, thank you very much.
And I shall see you later.
Enjoy the rest of the day, my friend.
You too.
Take care. Right, we have got